If it says that you have to have judges and police enforcers, for the justice that you want, and this seems like such a good system, right? I mean, it seems like it's a good enough system, and it makes sense too. I mean, we have, in fact, we've been living with this system for ever since, right? So why does it have to say tzedek tzedek tildof? Why go pursue justice as if this is not enough? And here we are with Parashat Shoftim. For those of you who want to have the Hebrew text of the Sfat Emet in front of you, in fact, also the text of the Chumash in front of you, I'm going to post instructions about how to do that at the end of this video, and you can just go to the end, follow the instructions. You'll find the Sfat Emet text is on sefaria.org, and the Chumash text you can find. There's many different sources. I like to go to Chabad.org, for instance, and it's easy to find the Parsha there. So let me start actually with the Parsha. We're in Parshat Shoftim, and the verses that the Sfat Emet is going to refer to are on Deuteronomy chapter 16, and these are verses 18, 19, and 20. So here we are. So the three verses in Shoftim that the Sfat Emet is going to analyze is, as I said, chapter 16, Deuteronomy 16, verse 18. It's the beginning of Parshat Shoftim. It says, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'kol sha'arecha. You shall place judges and law enforcers or police in all of your gates. Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha lishvatecha. That God, Adonai, your God, gives you to your tribes, meaning to each tribe. V'shaftu et ha'am mishpat tzedek, and these individuals will judge the people a just trial or administer true justice. And then verse 19 is lo tateh mishpat. You will not bend justice. Lo takil panim. Do not favor anybody. Lo tikach shochad. You will not take a bribe. Ki shochad ya'aver einei chachamim. Because bribes blind the eyes of the wise. V'salef divrei tzadikim, and will corrupt the words of the righteous. And then it says tzedek tzedek tildof. Justice, justice you shall pursue. Leman tichyeh ve'yarashta et haaretz, in order that you live and inherit the land. Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha, that Adonai your God gives to you.
The instructions, the commandments, the instructions of the Torah, in addition to their simple meaning and understanding, to the simple instruction. For example, here we're being the people of the Jewish people are being instructed to construct systems of justice and to establish a police force in order to enforce the justice. And that's all true and correct. But in addition, a fundamental teaching of Hasidic philosophy is that all the instructions of the Torah are to be seen additionally as personal instructions and life lessons. And we're going to see it here so clearly because, as we're going to get into right now, the idea of appointing a judge and appointing individuals to enforce the judgments is to be seen in an internal and individual light as well. And so the Sfas Emes is going to beautifully interpret our verses, which you just translated, Reb Ruvain, in a way in which we can understand them as an individual instruction for each of us, and how we can accomplish that feat.
So, looking at these three psukim, one of the questions that pop up, and obviously the Shoftim is asking a question that pops up for him as he's looking at the text. A question that pops up for me is if it says that you have to have judges and police enforcers, for the justice that you want, and this seems like such a good system, right? I mean, it seems like it's a good enough system, and it makes sense too. I mean, we have, in fact, we've been living with this system for ever since, right? So why does it have to say tzedek tzedek tildof? Why go pursue justice as if this is not enough?
To encapsulate the question, which is what the Sfas Emes will get to about halfway through, that we find don't do this and do that. There are 613 things, 248 things, do that. 365 things, don't do that.
Right.
So it should say, be just. Thou shalt be just.
Right.
And then set up your system of justice. But here it doesn't say that. It says, pursue justice. Right. So that's odd. That's unusual. My Hagdama over here was based on the first question that should hit everybody right over the head. Yeah. It says, Shoftim v'shoitrim titen lecha, which is, if you know a little bit of Hebrew grammar, lecha is you're talking to a individual. It should lechaira, at first glance, the pasuk should have been written in the plural. Moshe is giving over a commandment of God to the Jewish people, 3 million people, forever.
That's right.
So it should have conceivably said, Shotrim v'shotrim titen lachem, titnu lachem, or whatever. You should appoint over yourselves as a community, judges and a police force.
Right.
But it says it as if he's talking to one person.
Right. That's right. So why singular instead of plural? That doesn't make sense. That's another question. So to you, our listener, I want to invite you to any questions you have, write in the comments below. The Shoftim may or may not answer your questions, but let your questions be on record, because this is the process. The question is more important than the answer, they say. So let us know what your question, what your critique is. What is this trigger in you in the way of Torah? Kind of digging deep, jumping into the conundrum of Torah wisdom. And without further ado, we'll go right to the Sfat Emet, to his words themselves. So it goes, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha v'chule, as we had read through these three verses. Who have tacha? Oh, so as we translated judges and police, you'll place in your gates, etc. הוא הבטחה גם כן שביד איש הישראלי למנות על עצמו שופט ושוטר. And this is a promise that also, as Rebelli said, it is upon each person of Israel to appoint upon him or herself a judge and a police.
By the way, just to throw in, but right away he calls this commandment a haftacha. Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha. You'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I see. So the Torah itself is guaranteeing. This is not just to try it out and see if it works, but this will work. You have the willpower. You have the ability. This is not outside of your power. כמו שכתוב בדרך שאדם רוצה ללך, מוליכין אותו. So the molichin oto is not here. This is from the Midrash, and in fact, the full verse is You can find this in במדבר רבה, for instance, מכאן את למד שבדרך שאדם רוצה ללך בא מוליכין אותו, שמתחילה נאמר לו לא תלך כיוון שהעז פניו להלוך, הלך, etc. And this is a reference to Balaam, and so Hashem is first tells Balaam not to go, but then tells Balaam yes to go, and so the sages are explaining to us that that you choose the direction, and then you will be led that direction. So we need to be aware of what we're choosing, and this Sfat Emet obviously is going to tell us what the principle, what the expectation is. This is good. So because Sfat Emet is bringing it, obviously, and the point is that we have to make a choice. We have to force ourselves, but also, it's not only enough to force ourselves. We also have to be aware of which door we're opening. So it gets a little more complicated because, as you said, he's going from the social. I mean, it's simple to read this as a social, legal, a statement about how to manage the people, but he's going now internally inside the person. So to have a shofet and a shoter, to have a judge and a enforcer inside myself, there's more subtlety than that, right? It's not enough, and that's where it's going. So the principle here from the Gemara and the Midrash is that that wherever a person chooses to go, that's where he will be guided or she will be guided. And there are people who desire to attain truth, so they want to take the direction of truth.
Right, truth seekers.
Truth seekers and truth and justice are synonymous, by the way. So this is all in context. This is what we're talking about. וגם מי שאין בו דעת שלמה ורוצה להיות נכפף בעל כורחו. And also there are people who are not of, I don't want to say sound mind, but decisive mind, and therefore they want to be forced. And through this also a person is assisted from the heavens. You want to say something about that?
Right. Not everybody can sit down with Hegel and Kant and Nietzsche and everybody else and try and figure out right and wrong and good and evil and everything. Not so simple. But everyone intrinsically, if they're functioning psychologically in a normative kind of a way, everyone knows right from wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the pursuit of truth and justice is something that is a common denominator of humanity. So what he's saying here is, even if I can't rationally, I can't be a shayfet because I can't read all the legalese possibly, right. And all, and this precedent and that precedent, but I can make myself a shayter. If I see it if the Chumash says, if the Torah, God says, don't do this,
right.
Even if I don't understand like this, I can force. Okay, I'm not going to do it. Right. To me, I don't see why not, but evidently there's a why not. So there comes the shade dream.
Right. So yeah. So and I want to add to that he's saying here that a person is guided on the path that a person chooses. So if a person chooses the path of truth, yet even if you choose the path of truth, you still need some help. You still need some guidance, right? And the guidance is the Shoftim and Shotrim, is as I hear the Sfat Emet here is saying. So, and we know that this is actually intuitive in a way. And for instance, I'll give you a story that pops up in a real story and an experience I had. When I was a young teacher and I stood in front of the classroom and I wanted to be the coolest teacher in the world. And I didn't want any student to think that I'm a strict God forbid, teacher like the ones I hated, right? And I was so loose and so friendly that, the kids took advantage of it. They're up the chandeliers and and under the tables and everything. So I remember there was a girl who was, bless her heart, she was like a good student, somebody who really wanted to learn. And mostly the boys in the class were just going wild. And she comes up to me and says, "More Reuven." It's like teacher Reuben. She says, "You have to have control." The girl says to
Oh,
me, you know.
good,
So,
gesund.
so you know, so she was like, I think she got my shtick. She got that I'm, like
Hmm.
okay, you're a nice guy, but you're
Not gonna
wasting my
go.
time, then you're wasting everybody else's time.
Right.
So I think kids often teach us that they want to do the right thing, but you have to give them some control. You have to give them some structure.
Hmm.
Otherwise, because I mean, psychologically, we know kids don't yet have the power to manage their yetzer, their impulses, etc. So that's what a teacher and a parent too. I mean, I know us educators, which means not only teachers, also parents. I mean, to talk about the classroom, my son was even 10 times more. Uh, so I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. But we know that we need Shoftim and Shoitrim. It's like, I mean, listen, if there wasn't a red light, I would be crossing, the crosswalk, putting myself in danger 1,000 times. I would. Thank God for the red light, that says stop, let the cars pass, and then when you get the green, you'll go through.
Hmm.
Vaikal libakeshet haemet, and it says a Sfat Emet, and the most important thing is to seek truth. כמו שכתוב, tzedek tzedek תרדוף, and that's the third verse, right? Justice, justice you shall pursue. וכן גם כן בשקר כתיב, מדבר שקר תרחק. So now he's going to open it up, as he said before. So it says in the Torah, in addition to, it says about lying, the opposite of righteousness, of truth is lie, and it says about lying, from a deceitful word, you shall remove yourself, stay distant. ושמעתי ממורי זקני זכרונו לברכה שהגיד בשם הרב מפשיסחה, and I have heard from my father, my teacher, may his memory be a blessing, who taught in the name of Rabbi Pshischa that you mentioned before. May his memory be a blessing. שלא מצאנו הרחקה בשום איסור בתורה. That never ever before or after in the Torah does it say about something that you should keep a distance from it, like from lying. It's a known principle, but it's a principle that was only b'shem Yisur b'Torah. Rak Chachamim tiknu sayag. It was only later that the rabbis have instituted boundaries and we call barriers around mitzvot. Zulat b'shekel. So that's the only one. So here, as HaTorah Tzma the Torah itself, not the later rabbis, said stay away. להראות חומר האיסור עד כאן דברו, to show how serious this prohibition is, to stay away from deceit.
But there is don't lie. And then in addition, there's distance yourself from lying.
That's right.
Now, the Pershishka gives the reason to show how bad it is.
That's
That's
right.
his logic. But as we're going to see now, combining with the idea of tzedek tzedek tirdaif on the opposite end of the spectrum, we're going to see a completely different reason for the harchaka, for the distancing. And this is where this piece gets really, really amazing.
It's the punchline. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
whole Torah here. וכמו כן מצינו כאן באמת צדק צדק תרדוף, מה שלא מצינו במחול מוכר. And now he's showing a parallel, and he's saying, and likewise we find here that that in the matter of truth, it says, righteousness you shall pursue, which we also do not find anywhere else in the Torah. So here also, with regard to truth, opposite of lie, of deceitfulness, we are asked to not just favor it, but we're asked to actively pursue it. Kihu Yasod Kol, which is the foundation of everything. Uchtiv Tirdof. So he's saying truth is the foundation of everything, and that's why it says you need to pursue it actively. So it's a parallel but opposite of what we find about deceit. והיינו כי אי אפשר לבוא לגמרי לאמיתות האמת בעלמא דשיקרא. And from here, and here we see that it's impossible to come completely to the truth of truth in a deceitful world. Alma de Shikra, by the way, is a term of art. It means deceitful world, but we can call. Let me say something about Alma de Shikra. Alma de Shikra is the meaning of that is this world, the world we're living in. The rabbis call. I'm not sure the source is in the Zohar but it's referred to many places that the world we're living in is a world of deceitfulness. And in fact, we also, it's interesting that parallels also what I've heard from Eastern teachings, that they call it the world of illusion. That
right.
we think this is a reality that we can grasp, but really it eludes us.
This is the key sentence. Efshar. It's impossible to attain truth in this world, which we're going to have to unravel that because what do you mean? What do you mean? We just got through saying, you know it's good, you know it's bad, you know it's true, you know it's a lie.
Yeah.
No, the point, he's saying an unbelievable thing. It says, pursue justice and truth, pursue it to the best of your ability, but you'll never get there.
Right.
That's why there's no commandment that says, thou shalt be truthful. The point that we're going to get here is you can tell me stay away from lies, but you can't tell me don't lie. You can tell me to pursue justice, but you can't tell me thou shalt tell the truth, because it's not so simple in this world.
That's why we should always be pursuing after justice. Because justice is never fully justified as it should. In other words, it's never fully attained. We may think we attained a level of justice or a level of truth. Truth and justice here are synonymous, just to be clear. So we think we attain a level of truth, but then there's more to attain. And that's the beauty of spiritual development. You think you're at a level, wait, there's another level, so to attain. וכשרודפים הצדק בעולם הזה, משיגים אותו בשלמות בעולם הבא. So here's the rationale and the beauty. When one pursues justice and truth in this world, one attains it in wholeness, in its completeness in the world to come. That's why it says in the very last verse, למען תחיה וירשת, שהוא רמז לעולם הבא. It says, pursue justice so you will live and inherit the land. And here what he's saying, this is his big chiddush, I think, is that inheriting the land is inheriting the world to come. That the promised land is really not in Olam as the Shikra, it's in the complete world, the world of that is to come. Shu remez la'olam haba, olam shekulo chaim, which is a hint for the world to come, which is a world of all life. And parenthetically, just to say, often we talk about olam haba as the world of we go to when we die, but also it's a reference to the world after Mashiach comes. In other words, when it's when Olam Shikra is going to be complete, when whatever the world was intended to, there will be a time when this pursuit will be over and we'll all live in the full truth and with the knowledge of Hashem. With
What he's adding here to what you just said is that in other words, I think that what he might be alluding to is that if everybody jumps on board with the pursuit of truth and justice, then we bring upon ourselves this. We can have revealed for ourselves this utopian messianic age. So he's saying there that we can peel away, if we can try through our social action, through our being responsible citizens, if we can peel back the layers of the Alma de Shikra, and get to the Gedichter, get to the real essence of the spirituality of this world, then we will have created for ourselves this type of society that he's alluding to over here.
A thought that pops in my mind here that I'm thinking about the Constitution, American Constitution, which is an amazing document, and it says the pursuit of happiness, right? To freedom and the pursuit of happiness. And I'm thinking if a Yid was writing the Constitution, if the Sfat Emet was writing the Constitution, he would write, the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of truth, right?
The pursuit, right.
It doesn't seem rational to be pursuing Torah or to be pursuing truth. But when you have that sense that as you're pursuing it, you're creating it, you're depositing it in the spiritual bank for the time that you are going to want to withdraw, which is a little abstract, to many people, but that's the answer. When somebody says that, I say, well, look, Sfat Emet says if you have a good bank account, but also put a little side in the spiritual bank account. You never know when you want to withdraw on that, and all of us together. So we should be really blessed with. I think this is really, in some ways, really intuitive, and people of spiritual inclination and ethical inclination, and people who say, I want to do good, I want to be a good person, it's like in their kishkes, even if they don't have the big chokhmah, in their kishkes they know that that this is what their soul is drawn to doing, and they do it. Everybody does it in their own way. So we should be blessed to continue and grow in the ways that we're pursuing truth and justice. And Rebecca, before you take us out, I just want to say, if this teaching brought up lots of new questions, what is your question? And share it with us in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. Torah is kind of rolls like that. Every answer brings up a few more questions. What are your questions? What did you see here that we have not actually addressed? What bothers you? Write that in the comment. Like us if you mean it. It has to be true. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. We'd love to have you with us. I think with that, I'm going to say, we'll say shalom and see you next Wednesday at around 9 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time. Let's go out with a niggun.
A beautiful song by the Nikolsburger Rebbe called Ani L'Dodi. Ani L'Dodi, L'Dodi Li, Haroye Bashoshani, Ani L'Dodi, L'Dodi Li, Haroye Bashoshani, Ani L'Dodi, L'Dodi Haroye Bashoshani, Ani L'Dodi,
Sefaria to the home page, and it says browse the library. So you're going to scroll down till you find the Chassidut tab, and this is it here. And you click on Chassidut, and you scroll down to the sub title that says, I think, other Chassidut works. There's Breslev, Ishbitz, Tzadok HaKohen, other Chassidut works, and you scroll down there, and the Sifat Emet is down here. You click on Sifat Emet, and then we have the table of contents, and we're going to scroll down to the book of Deuteronomy. And here's the book of Deuteronomy, and scroll down further, there's Shoftim. And in the Shoftim menu, you're going to click section 9. And there we are. So the first teaching here in section 9, which is numbered as number 2, Shoftim B'Shoftim Titen, that is today's section.